Hey everyone, welcome back to the Workplace and Apprenticeship 10 videos. In this video, we're going to look at lesson 4 from chapter 3, which is talking about volume. So volume is the amount of space an object occupies, and in the SI units, the base unit for measuring volume is typically the liters, but we can also use the liter to measure capacity. So capacity is the maximum amount that a container can hold. So let's just recap volume and capacity. Those are two definitions that can sound very similar. But volume is the amount of space an object takes up, where capacity is how much it can hold. So say, for example, we have a fish tank here. And so when we're talking about the capacity, we're looking at how many liters or milliliters of water we could put inside that tank. Whereas the volume itself is looking at how much space does the tank and the water inside that tank take up. So those are two different things there, and typically they have two different types of units. So typically in our kind of situations, our capacity here is going to look at units as in milliliters or liters, and then our volume is going to be, say, in inches cubed, or maybe even centimeters cubed, or whatever kind of dimensions we're given for our object. So to calculate the volume of a prism, we are going to use the following equation. So volume is equal to the area of your base times by the height. So say, for example, if we were to calculate the volume of a rectangular prism, which is exactly what our fish tank here is, we would use the following formula. So your volume is equal to your length times your width times your height. So here, your length times your width, that is the area of your base. Because as you see in this picture here, the bottom of your fish tank there is a rectangle. And so the area for that is length times width. And then as our formula above here states, you'd multiply that area by your height. So then we get this following formula, and this works for all rectangular prisms. So volume is equal to length times your width times your height. So just as another repeat here again, so the units when we're calculating volume will be in some sort of cubic units, say like centimeters cubed, inches cubed, feet cubed, and so on and so on. So just watch out what kind of units you're given in your question in terms of the dimensions of that shape. So now we're going to look at an example, and this one here is number 1 from your notes. So Alfred has a bulk container that holds 2,000 cubic inches of dog biscuits. He plans to sell the dog biscuits in small boxes that measure 5 inches by 8 inches by 6 inches. So how many boxes will he need to sell all of the dog biscuits? So here we're trying to figure out how many boxes will he need. And here we're given the volume of the big container. And then we're given the measurements of these small boxes that are going to fit inside of that big container. So what we need to do here is we need to first find the volume of one box and then see how many times that will fit into that bulk container. So step number 1 here is we're going to find the volume of one box. And as we said earlier, so your volume is equal to the area of your base times it by the height. And as we know, these boxes here are rectangular just by what we're given here with our dimensions. And so as we said even earlier, the area of, say, a rectangular prism is your length times your width, and then multiply it with that height. So your box measures 5 inches by 8 inches by 6 inches. So you go 5 times 8 times 6. So multiply with each of those dimensions. So if you were to put that into your calculator, or if you guys can be rock stars, do that in your head, we should find that our volume for one box is equal to 240 inches cubed. So note here our units here are in inches cubed. So now we have the volume of one box. Now we need to see how many of each of those boxes will fit into that bulk container, which is 2,000 cubic inches. So step number 2 is to find the number of boxes. And so to do that, you're going to take the volume of that bulk container and divide it by the volume of each small box. So here we're given that it is 2,000 cubic inches for your bulk container. And we know that one box has 240 inches cubed. So if you were to put that into your calculator, what we should find is that 2,000 divided by 240 will give us 8.33 boxes. So now one thing that's really important is that you're not going to just take a third of a box with you. So we have to ask ourselves, well, do we round up or do we round down in this case? Sometimes you might think, well, can I just use those normal rules of rounding? Well, when we're talking about numbers of boxes and we're really talking about, I guess, quantities of people or objects, you can't just use those basic rules of rounding. So you really have to use your thinking skills and reread that question. So here they want to know, how many boxes will Alfred need to sell all of those dog biscuits? So he's going to have 8 full boxes, and then he's going to have a third of a box left over. But he wants to sell all of those boxes, so maybe he would just have a third of a box, maybe at a reduced price. But he's not going to just toss away a third of a box of dog biscuits, that way he only needs 8 boxes. So what he's going to do is he's going to round up to 9 boxes and maybe sell that third for a cheaper price. Okay? So you really got to sit down and think about that word problem that you're given. And then our last little step here, just to finish off that question, is to write a sentence for that word problem. So we could say that Alfred will need 9 boxes to sell all of the dog biscuits. So that is everything here for this video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, make sure to come see me in class or text me on Remind 101. And thank you guys so much for watching.